Justin, how are you, man?
Doing good. Always good to be back in studio.
Yeah, dude, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Boy, is it a weird slate. And by weird, I mean yikes. Hockey's decided, it's President's Day. We'll play a bunch of games early. Thanks a lot, hockey. You really tapped into the pulse of the people. We get that from you.
All like those bankers that got to watch the game because they were off today.
I think they did this on Columbus Day too, which is like Canada. No one's taking that day off anymore. Figure it out. But hey, we do what we can. You know, early hockey, so be it. I bring in our college hoops expert, the sharp of all sharps here at DNVR. Because he was in the office. Check out TDSP. Tons of fun with my guy. And now we get you to do bets. It's like your own Radio Row. It's like you're a comedian touring Denver's the spot. You're doing all the radio hits today.
I'll be in San Fran next week. Tickets still available for Sioux City. Check it out. My website.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. JustinMichael.com. Yeah. He's running some great specials on there. So no, man, it's good to have you on here. Yeah, just a weird one with no football. Like, what are you getting into these days, betting wise? The rest I couldn't care less.
Yeah, I mean, you still got college hoops, which is nice, and it's the final 2 weeks of the regular season before we get into conference tournament action. There's still some pretty decent value as far as the futures go, and some of these teams that are a game, maybe 2 games back, and potentially have an opportunity to make a late run here. I'm sure we'll get into some of that. My big 3 as well, we can just kind of get into that. I guess we've got a decent slate tonight. It's not great, I won't lie. These are the best value picks in my opinion. I don't love them, but I like them. Starting with Kansas moneyline at TCU. There's a lot of reasons to be worried about this. The Big 12, it's really hard to win on the road. That said, KU's kind of figured it out of late. They've won 6 of their last 7 overall, all by double digits. They went down big to Baylor over the weekend, still managed to come back and blow them out. When they get hot, I just think they're the best team in college basketball. I love Grady Dick. I love DeJuan Harris. I have a hard time seeing them get swept by TCU. TCU actually came into Allen Fieldhouse, beat them by 23 earlier this year, and the most probably shocking outcome of the entire season. Not that TCU is not a great team, because they are. Mm-hmm. Just nobody beats Kansas by 20 plus in their own building. So right. I think the Jayhawks get revenge in the rematch this time around tonight. Staying over in the Big 12, we've got Oklahoma State. They are playing at West Virginia. That's a tough one. Oklahoma State, 6-point dogs. I like them to cover. They've won 8 straight versus non-ranked opponents. West Virginia is non-ranked. I'm not going to take them to win in Morgantown, though. They won by 7 the first time they played in early January. I like them to cover and just kind of hang around, keep it close. Again, I do think West Virginia ultimately wins that game at home, though. Finally, we're going to go to the SEC. We've got Mississippi State at Missouri, where I don't love this Big 3 as I'm betting on 3 road teams in college basketball, which is probably a recipe for disaster most nights. But Mississippi State, they've won 4 straight in this series. 9 straight night games against Missouri. Shout out to DraftKings for that fun little fact. They won by 11 when they played 2 weeks ago. I just think they're the better team. And despite the outcome when it comes to Kansas and Mississippi State here, I think you're at least going to go 1 for 2, and you've got a really good opportunity to hit them both.
The Kansas one's the one that scares me, because it's like, what does the book know?
Well, TCU's great, man. Like they play great defense. They can get hot as well. Like, there's a reason that they're favored in this game. They're a legitimate, they've got I'm drawing a blank on his name, which I feel bad, but they've got the front runner for Big 12 Player of the Year. So, I mean, like, that is a really good team.
No, and they're having a great season. And I mean, the Big 12 has just been a monster conference for 5 years now, 4 years. I mean, they're just stacked.
It's the deepest in basketball by far. I mean, there are some years I think where you can, make arguments for the ACC when, Duke and North Carolina and some of those teams are hot. They're all down. The ACC is having an awful year.
Yeah. People were all over the Big Ten a couple years ago.
Big Ten's taken a big step back as well. I mean, you got that nice run from Michigan where they made, a couple of Elite Eights there.
Yep.
I like Purdue.
Purdue's a fun story.
Top to bottom, I mean, when you look at this Big 12, like, I could see Baylor making the Final Four. I could see Kansas making the Final Four. I could
Yep.
see Texas making the Final Four. I could see TCU making the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even getting into some of the other really frisky teams like Iowa State, who's, capable
Right.
of getting hot and
Right.
beating anyone. Like, it is top to bottom just a gauntlet. And that's why, winning on the road, it's a tough shot. Kansas, though, they're trying to secure a Big 12 championship. I think they get it done tonight.
Yeah, and Kansas has been pretty good to you so far this year. I think you've come on this show and given them out already once.
A couple times, yeah.
This season at least. Okay, that's an interesting one. I mean, thank God we had you to talk some college hoops because, I don't know what we would have done right now. It really is a
Complain
weird
about
slate.
the All-Star game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would have been fun. Yeah, let's go to my big three, please and thank you. And there you go. So we'll hold on to tomorrow's game for the Champions League. We'll get to that in just a second. Sidney Crosby playing some really good hockey lately. The Penguins in general are figuring out some things. He has been hammering home these assist props, and you get it at -120. When really the last 6, 7, 8, he's been hitting this all but once. So at -120 to get a prop that hits basically 80% of the time is really nice value. Right now, the Kraken are playing the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks, real leaky defense. I do worry that Grubauer's in net for the Kraken, and the Kraken are traveling to San Jose, but San Jose has just been obliterated by divisional opponents this year. So give me the -155, which actually I believe the value on that has improved just slightly. No, it hasn't. So, and this is an early hockey game that's going on right now. Sid the Kid and the Penguins play later today at 5 p.m. So jump in on the Kraken while you can, and they're still playing. And tomorrow, Champions League, we have Napoli against Frankfurt. Napoli, one of the hottest teams in all of Europe. They're on the road, which is why you get a little value at +115. They're just one of the teams of destiny. Frankfurt is a fun story, but they haven't been one of the better teams in Germany this season, where there's been other surprising squads. So I'll take that plus money value at +115. I think this is one of the easier legs of the Champions League, which is why I'll give it out in a big three. Usually Champions League, like the NFL, so much parity, not necessarily one of those leagues you want to bet on.
Makes sense.
The more talent, the more interest there is globally, the harder it is to handicap and bet on them.
I mean, it's, to an extent like Mountain West basketball right now. It's a lot of fun. Top to bottom, anybody can beat anybody. You also get a ton of frustrating results. And it's like, oh, this team won 3 straight and then they dropped 2. And I was on the wrong side of all 5 of them.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the soccer bets we gave out over the weekend, we felt so good about them. Our parlay that Ryan gave out got destroyed. Mitch was just complaining to us about he had a great parlay that got squandered by his crosstown rival City. Though Rashi banged the goals in, so you love to see that. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Of course, all these great bets at DraftKings Sportsbook, the king of all sportsbook. Right now, new users who use that code DNVR can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. And I think those all come in 8 $25 bonus bets that you can, you sprinkle a little SGP here, a little parlay there. You have some fun with it, It's
the perfect time, too. You got March Madness, so, like maybe a couple conference winners, maybe take some long shots on the Final Four, that type of stuff. Like, give yourself an opportunity to win big.
Right. NBA, NHL, getting ready for some Nugs and Avs playoff runs, a little NBA, NFL futures if you want, NFL draft props, which we always have fun with. It's a great time. Get in. Use that code DNVR. They are the king of sportsbook, DraftKings Sportsbook, and must be 21 or older. Colorado only, 1 per new customer, minimum $5 deposit, and wager $200 issued as 8 $25 bonus bets. Restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. And everything I just said does not apply to you, Ohio. I am so sorry, Ohio. I said that correctly? No updates on Ohio's situation?
It's Ohio.
Ohio. Okay. Yaya is so unhappy today. That's the level of help and support I'm getting from him. He won't even tell me if the promotion, if the Ohio thing is still going on. Oh my God. Okay, dilemma me up, Yaya. I'm ready. We are ready. Finding value in hoops futures at all levels. I do this with you a lot, Justin. When you're on the show, when you're on other shows, I can't help but fire up the old futures section and pick your brain. And if you want, we can talk some NBA futures as well, because you never know. College hoops.
Yeah, I'm down to do a little NBA as well.
Yes.
Looking at the Big 12, I have a couple bets on Kansas to win the Big 12, and I got that when they were not the favorite, so that's why I'm pulling for it.
You gave that out on the show as well.
They are currently the betting favorite at -200. That said, they still have a tough remaining schedule. I like Baylor at +800 if you're looking for value, just because they're only a game back, and to get that much juice, I don't quite understand the difference between Baylor and Texas. I would put them both at +220 looking at their remaining schedules. So if you're looking for some value there, Baylor at +800 is solid. In the Big East, I love Creighton at +240. They're a game back of Marquette, who they host tonight and are 6-point favorites. So Vegas thinks they're going to win. It's more about their 3 remaining games after that are pretty difficult. I think 2 of them are on the road, one against a ranked opponent. That said, I just trust Creighton. It's a program that I trust at this point. Offensively, I really like what they've got going. And the value is really good for only being a game back and assuming that they're going to be tied tonight after winning.
Is Marquette getting overvalued because of Shaka?
Possibly.
Yeah, a little name recognition.
To me, it's just seemed like all year who's ever currently in first, they're just like, this is who is going to win it. They're like, there's no room for movement here. And it's just been weird because
we remind people this is the regular season conference winner.
Yeah,
bring it back to us, please.
I mean, we can get Boise State at +280. They're 1 game behind San Diego State right now. They host San Diego State next Saturday. So as long as they don't have any slip-ups, going into that game, there's a real opportunity for them to at least split that conference title.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona's a game and a half out of UCLA. UCLA -750 to win it all. It feels like I could sprinkle 5 of these, right? Anywhere from Baylor +800, maybe our longest shot, to Creighton +240, our shortest shot. I placed 5 bets. One of those hits,
one's going to hit.
I've basically made I'm operating at even strength. 1 of 5.
And if you hit 2, you're going to be up big.
2 of 5, it feels like all of a sudden I'm... it's a 5-unit win for me on that one. The other win allows me to break even. And if it's just the ones in the 200s, that makes sense. If it's the ones in the 400s, the 800s, those margins are even bigger.
Exactly. It's been weird.
There seems to be tremendous value on these.
I've had as far as the best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
From what I have found over the last 2 years since I really started talking about this consistently, college basketball is where you can get the best value. And I think, honestly, it's because as great as Vegas is, and there's nobody better than what they do, there's a reason they mop up and the house always wins. There's so much college basketball being played at any given time that it's hard to be 100% locked in, whether it's, this guy's out for COVID for 2 days, or this guy, he's going to be back. He's a game time decision. There's just so much happening that they're a little bit later to react on some of this stuff. It's more of a 2-3 week scope with them versus the 1 week scope. And as a bettor, you can really benefit from that in a way that you can't, with the NBA, because they're just so on top of everything. This guy might be out. Your odds are already screwed.
Yep, exactly. Right. In the NBA, those guys... The book has to have better sources than the media does to be on top and ahead of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Hoops, I think it's just impossible. College hoops, I just think it's impossible, as you
at least
laid
with
out.
some of these smaller leagues. They're going to be pretty on it, with the North Carolinas of the world and that kind of stuff. But I mean, Tuesday night 9 p.m. Mountain West games and the Big West and stuff like that. You can find value if you follow it consistently. and if you follow the trends.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Moving on to the NBA, Nuggets still plus 800 to win the chip. Hasn't moved.
I mean, I guess it's
Yet to see KD in purple.
we don't know what Devin Booker's situation is going to be. Chris Paul, can he stay healthy for 3 months of playoff basketball, 2.5 months, however long it is? You know what I mean?
Even the Bucks at plus 600. Look, you've got Nug life is creeping in. Okay, no problem. I respect it. Bucks at plus 600 feels like a really good bet. Now, Giannis injury, that's the big factor in that.
I still trust them the most in the East, as much as I like Boston.
Absolutely.
And Boston is solid. Like if you wanted to back them, I understand why.
Right.
Offensively, defensively, I think they're a little bit more well-rounded than Milwaukee.
Yes, they are.
But
little
Giannis
deeper.
just dominates. Like there isn't another player like him in the NBA right now.
And it's a first-year head coach. It's a first-time head coach in Boston. Like, come a series, I do think those small things like that are going to matter some. I've got a Nuggets-Bucks exact final, Nuggets to beat Bucks as a preseason future that I feel good about on that one. That
would have been insane. Preseason, you got that?
Yeah, preseason.
All right, now we're talking.
Yeah, that was a hefty one. So hopefully. I mean, they're plus 390 to win the West.
They got better. They are now a more rounded team than they were before the deadline. I understand that Phoenix also got better, and as much as I can't stand the guy, I think Dallas got better with Kyrie Irving as well. I also wouldn't bet a nickel on that dude being dependable and not being some type of problem in that locker room
You haven't
at some
learned
point.
anything if you are betting money on Kyrie. Yeah.
And maybe you benefit, like, because he needs that next new contract. He waits a little bit to kind of like let some of this craziness out, and they get the one run before he, really goes insane. But I don't know how you look at this Nuggets team, how they've played since Christmas, what they did at the break, and think, I don't trust it. And their schedule gets easier. Like their regular season schedule only gets easier. I'm all in on Denver and anything to one in the West and even the best record in the NBA because that schedule is so favorable.
Right. Absolutely. Best record in the NBA. Like over 56.5. You can bet at plus 100. Look at this one. Winner special. Where will there be a first-time NBA champion? Plus 130. Yes. That would include the Nuggets. Other teams included would be Nets, Hornets, Pacers, Clippers, Grizzlies, Pelicans, Suns, Magic, or Jazz. Plus 130.
The fact that you get the Nuggets, Suns, and Grizzlies in there is pretty awesome. That's good
really
value.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good value. At plus 130, I think we got to put that one in. And then the ship sailed on Jokic MVP.
Barring injury, knock on wood, obviously something like that would be horrific. And if that happens, the whole context of the Nuggets season changes. Everything we just said goes out the window.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a really hard time seeing anybody catch him. If you were, and most people listening to this show are going to be full on Jokic stands, so they wouldn't be rooting for this. But just putting our Nuggets love away for a second, if we were looking for the best value, I think it's Giannis at plus 700 more than Embiid at plus 450.
Ryan and I were saying that last week, and Giannis went down the next day.
He's like 2 weeks away, or a 2-week hot run away from all the first take things being like, no, it should be Giannis, and it won't be. It'll be Jokic.
He was averaging 37 this month of February. He was going off.
He had a nice little stretch. He had his run. Embiid had his, obviously, the big game against Denver and a huge week. Tatum's had his stretch.
Yeah, Tatum had Luka had that stretch where it was like nothing but 40-point triple. It's been a wild NBA season. And yet Jokic is so clearly above the rest. And the Nuggets are minus 4,000 to be the 1 seed in the West.
It makes sense, though, when you look at the schedule. It's not even just
tells you what the book thinks.
That they have that April schedule is just so favorable. And they deserve it because they had a gauntlet of a schedule to start the season.
Right. Yeah, and Michael Malone plus 260 to win Coach of the Year is really interesting. Joe Mazzulla is the favorite at plus 170.
That's what I was going to ask, yeah.
Because, right, it's the situation he comes in. That's the Celtics coach, right? Yeah.
But to me, that's
then it's
just
Mike Brown
They
plus
were in the
240.
finals. Like, I understand it was a wonky,
That's
but
what
like
I'm saying. They were in the finals. But it's a tough spot for,
I get it. It was
I see both sides of the coin. It's why these awards are kind of stupid,
they're really pointless, honestly. Like, do
Mm-hmm.
we need a coach of the year? George Karl won coach of the year, got fired. So did Casey with the Raptors. Like, does it really matter that much?
Well, in other sports, too. I remember Mike McIntyre a year after winning Coach
Yep.
of the Year got fired,
It was like won a national award that
Yes.
year.
It's insane. It's insane. But that's sports for you. Like that's why we always got to be ahead to the next trend. Because if you're stuck on the old trend, like you're getting
too late.
You're getting robbed blind. Yeah, it's way too late. So, dude, always a pleasure. Thank you, Justin. Yaya, we'll turn Yaya's mood around. That's my goal today. From Yahir Vasquez and Andre. Rhino might be back tomorrow, not feeling great. So send them your best wishes. Send them your best wishes. Best of luck tonight on the sleepy slate. We'll do better tomorrow.